every woman in a relationship is called into question, it might be comforting to know, if she were you, what would she do?
Hi, I'm your host Saran, and this is What Would She Do? Today I have a special show for you guys entitled What's Love Got to Do with It? And to discuss that topic with me, I have Dr. Aleda Hines, and Mr. Maurice Lewis will be providing our male perspective. Welcome. The first topic at hand is, why do men cheat? I would like to start with you. Can you answer that question for me?
Men cheat primarily because they are poor choosers, for starters, number one. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, if they were able to pick a woman that they would love to settle down with and see monogamously, then they wouldn't need to cheat. However, lots of men are not able to be honest with the lady that they choose.
Okay, so you said two things. Better choosers in the type of women, make a better choice in the type of women, and then honesty about what?
About what it is that they want and desire. Okay. In other words, if I don't want to be monogamous, then you shouldn't be seeking it.
Doctor, what are your thoughts on what Mr. Lewis has offered?
Yes, sex. Yeah, that's the in a superficial or simple level, sex. Sexual excitability. You don't know how to manage your attraction, your feelings, your desires, your fantasies. So it's a lack of sex education, lack of knowing what is about a relationship, what is about. And so that's a more complex level, you know, but superficially it's just sex. Adventure.
So when I discuss this topic with people, sex is always at the forefront of conversations from men. Women are not saying the same thing. So when you say sex, how do they need to be educated so this is not problematic in relationships?
Women or men?
Please address the men. We want to know, why do men cheat? For the women out there, I've addressed this before, but we never really got to the nitty-gritty. Like, if you want to know why.
Yeah. First, about your body, you need to know about what is your sexual functioning. You need to know your desires, your fantasies, your what kind of life you want to do, what is your motivation, your frequency, how many times a day you masturbate, and what is your fantasy.
But what if you know that?
It's part of sex education, and then if you know that, and you can deal with that, and you can talk about that with your partner, and also to know about attraction, what happens with attraction. You don't have to act on attractions.
So what happens if that changes? What happens? We had a conversation pre-show, and what happened if that changes? Like, you know, you brought up a situation about threesomes.
Right.
Okay, so, you know, what if you have not made that clear to your partner before you got into a committed relationship? Right.
Well, the deal is then that goes back to what I was saying about choosing the right person. Me personally, I need to be able to communicate effectively with the person I'm with.
Absolutely.
And so if I can't say to her, listen, this is what I need, this is what I want, and to be able to successfully convey that to her, if I can't do that, then it's probably not the person I need to choose. Now, generally what people do is that
pre-commitment, make the choice pre-commitment. Like, I don't think that's something that you say after you've already committed.
Before.
Right, that's what you say
before.
First. Right.
Of
you
course.
can't spring that on somebody once you're in a relationship. Oh, I had this fantasy.
Well, when you are dating.
Right.
When you're dating, you have time, like he said. That's great. You have to
it would be great.
First.
It would be great to be able to convey that.
It is perfect.
It would be fantastic to be able to convey that at the beginning.
Exactly.
The problem is that
you don't do that.
Well,
that is the problem.
That's the problem.
A lot of men don't do it, but see, I don't blame them. I wouldn't either.
Something is because you don't want to lose that person.
Correct.
I do want to take a look at some street interviews. We're going to hear what the people had to say about it, and then we're going to get back to this conversation. Take a look at this, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, what is the #1 reason reason why you think men cheat?
It's just a natural occurrence.
They need attention.
It's innate in some men.
Selfishness. They're bored.
Honestly, this is probably going to sound bad, but I kind of think it's kind of in some men's DNA.
You know what? That's not a good reason.
They're dumb. I think that there is some unhappiness in the relationship.
Their spouse is not giving them what they want at home.
What is the number one reason why you think men cheat?
Not communicate very well with the partner.
The lack of intimacy at home.
They're not getting what they want at home.
To be specific?
Not fulfilling the sexual needs that you feel that you deserve.
Some people just can't control what they do.
But sometimes we act on impulse.
Okay, the communication is the most important thing. Their own insecurities.
Once a cheater, always a cheater.
Probably because they're not getting the attention they think they should get in the relationship.
Some men, just like a variety of women,
ain't giving up the booty.
You guys have just seen our street interviews. What did you think about what people had to say behind the reason why men cheat?
They had a lot of pretty good points, as to why it is. But the one thing I didn't hear on there, from the street people was, men need to be able to convey to ladies what they feel and what they need. They need to be able to do that. And the woman needs to be able to be receptive towards that. Otherwise, if they're not, then
I think you have
it's going to get done.
You have to say it sooner than later. I think the problem is timing. I need to know about your fantasies before I am fully invested in this relationship.
But I don't know what they are right now because it's great from the beginning. We're great from the start.
Yeah,
it's down the line.
Exactly.
It's down the line when we start to get bored with one another because remember, it's the same thing.
Exactly. That's another point because that's the more complex level because superficially, you can say, we need variety, opportunity. If the opportunity comes, main pick it. Again, it's a little bit of sex education to know what to do, how to spice it up, your relationship.
I think if you want to spice it up, you do new and different things.
The cheating helps the relationship.
No.
Absolutely not.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why it helps.
Destroy it.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why the cheating helps. First of all, in order for the person to cheat, there's a level of unhappiness already, right?
Yes.
You probably have not conveyed that to your spouse.
Oh yes, that's the deal. We have conveyed it. Okay, that's the deal. We have conveyed it, and nothing has transpired from it.
Is it only sex though? Is that the only reason why men cheat?
There's a lot of things that go on with that.
Yes.
But see, the thing is that, if people can't convey, and this is where the honesty part comes in, you have to be able to be honest.
That's a simple, just to say, okay, I want to have fun.
Right.
I want to variety. I want a new adventure. That's easy.
Don't get into a relationship if you still want variety.
Exactly.
If that's what you're looking for, you don't have to commit ever. You can continue to have variety. Variety in women, not the variety in your sex life.
Remember, in the beginning, the variety was there. Remember, we could do all those things, different conversations, different sex things, different everything.
I don't think it was different, it was new.
But see, when it's new, your tolerance level is there. New. Everything is heightened.
Well, you know what? With that said, I want to segue into the reason why women cheat and see if those reasons are the same as they are for the men. The number one reason why you think women cheat?
Feelings.
Their feelings?
There's a lot of guys that cheated on girls and then the girls got played and now I guess some girls want to play the game too.
They're bored. Probably because their men cheat.
That woman has some insecurity.
Women like eye candy.
I haven't heard any statistics to say that women do cheat.
Nobody wants to be with a broke man.
Dissatisfaction, I guess.
Probably, I think, just unhappiness.
Their partner's not very talkative, communicative.
Because it's in their nature.
A lot of women don't cheat. Not that I know of.
Sex is a big thing for them. They need more than one.
If he's not home taking care of her emotional needs, she may seek it somewhere else.
But the man doesn't give her attention.
I think with women it's probably a little different. I think if they're in a relationship and it gets kind of stale, I think that's when they start to kind of look the other way.
I think with women it's more of an emotional thing.
Most women, they just can't be held down to one man.
Now, females, when they feel like their significant other is not there for them, hey, a lot of females just go ahead and step out.
I think it's attention as well.
Okay, so that is what the people had to say about the reasons why women cheat. And the things that stood out for me was that it's really more emotional than physical for women. Did you agree or disagree with anything that you heard?
In a more complex, it's just lack of education, sex education, and relationship education also.
Well, what about people who feel like, you know, this one young lady expressed, you know, maybe he doesn't have enough money. You know, maybe he is not, you know, same like men, maybe they're not getting what they need at home. But with that said, it seems like we're not talking to each other.
No.
And the whole part of me even reaching out and discussing why men cheat and why women cheat is to bring some kind of revelation and ultimately some kind of healing to relationships. Like if there's a lady out there that is watching this show, or a man out there who is watching this show and you have been cheated on, I really would like for you to speak to that person to see if there is something to salvage, because when I hear that kind of thing, I'm not really an advocate for working it out. Like I feel like whatever was the reason, we should have been able to talk about it before you stepped out.
Exactly.
Except for one thing, they did try to talk about it, but you couldn't come to a
well, wait a minute. But what we've seen in these interviews, a lot of times they haven't talked about it. Some people are unhappy in silence, and they act on that. So I do want someone to see this and say, maybe I should have this conversation. Maybe I should be more educated.
Again,
maybe I should express those fantasies.
Never see that in class. In college, in whatever. So that's, again, in the bottom is education. Sex education is just, we don't know what to do. We don't know just what to do with our desires.
I have a question. Are men able to have honest conversations about what they want to women? Do you think they do?
Well,
absolutely.
So you think they're able to say, hey, you know what, listen,
yeah, it is,
I love you, you my baby, but listen.
But you have to have the ground. You have to have the space.
Right, but I need to be able to say, listen, I know you're my baby, but listen, you know, can I invite somebody else in the bed with me? You already know who you are, and I know there's about to be some furniture moving.
No, wait a minute. You need to say that before you get into that relationship. You have to say that first.
I didn't have to say that in the beginning because you were doing what I need you to do.
However, what I'm saying, if that is something that you would ever consider, right? I need to know that about you, because if that is not something that I would ever consider, that's not going to work.
What I understand is that you say, we are okay in a relationship, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're great.
We are great. What happened in the long term? Something is missing.
It gets old.
Something is missing. It happened. It's happened. But you don't have to cheat. You don't have to. You don't have to cheat. No. You don't have to lie. You don't have to do things. You have to be brave, honest, and have the courage.
So what you're saying, I just want to understand. So what you're saying is, I should be able to come to you.
Exactly.
After them 5 years, after I'm bored with you now. I'm bored with you. Come to you, and even after I'm bored with you now, being the same person I've been laying down with every day, I'm bored with you now. So now we can still rekindle things sexually, emotionally, you know, being able to converse with one another. We should be able to rekindle all that, right?
Yes.
Realistically.
What I was saying is, if it's an option, if it's something that you would ever consider, even though the relationship is fine in the beginning, and that is not what you are looking for at that time, if that is something that you would ever consider a threesome, swinging, whatever these fantasies are, you can relay that before there is a problem. So that way I know if this is something that is even on your radar and it's not on my radar, we don't need to go any further. All right, so we've heard some reasons why men cheat. We've heard some reasons why women cheat. Now I would like to discuss, why do the cheated on stay in those relationships? Why do you think, doctor?
Well, many reasons, but mostly or typically because if a woman or man, they don't know how to deal with that, how to overcome that, how to confront, how to speak that. So in that case, it is very important to go to counseling, to look for help.
When you say counseling, is it counseling to save your relationship or counseling to help you deal with what has happened?
Because you don't know, you don't know what is happening. So your mind is confused. You have sadness, anger, a lot of feelings and emotions together. So you don't know what to do with all those feelings, and your self-esteem usually goes down, and you feel miserable. So it's not the best moment to take an action, to have a decision. It's not the best way. So that's why the first thing is just wait. Take a breath.
How long if there is someone out there who has been cheated on and they may want to stay or they're thinking about leaving, how long are they waiting before they make a decision or choose to do anything? How long should they wait?
Well, it has to be as soon as possible. You wait, you calm down, you take a breath, and then you say, we have to talk about this.
Are you aware that, when a person cheats on you, the first thing is they've already lost respect for you, number one. And then number two, you're the person that decides to stay with a person that's cheating, they don't know their self-value. You know what I mean? They don't know the value in who they are. So what happens is when they get cheated on and they're trying to figure out a way to remain in a relationship, all you telling a man is, you're now giving me permission to continue to cheat on you.
If you stay the same way, I give you another opportunity and I stay with you doing nothing, that's going to happen, what you say.
It should.
I agree, but
it should.
But if you really want to work that, first, go to counseling. Go to see what really happened.
If you really wanted to work it, you wouldn't have cheated in the first place. You got to understand this.
When you listen to old married couples and they say all the things that they've been through, and now they've been together 30, 40, 50 years, they've been through cheatings and all of these things that happen in relationships. Some people can work through it. I'm not willing to be one of them, but I do want to check out some street interviews and hear what the people have to say about that. I'll answer your question when we get back. Okay, what is the number one reason you think that people who are cheated on stay in those relationships?
Because you're comfortable.
Maybe you feel like nobody else is gonna love you. They're retarded.
Because they hope that it'll change.
A lot of them don't have securities in themselves.
Familiarity.
Low confidence.
Because you love the man.
So they just stay what they know. They're comfortable there.
I feel that they can't get anyone else.
Women who have sense and have self-esteem usually know how to move forward.
In love with the person and they're scared they can't find somebody else.
That's not a good look.
Confidence issues.
You could be brainwashed.
Insecurity, no protection. Inside that relationship, they don't want to explore anything else because they're afraid.
That's usually self-esteem related.
For the benefit of their children.
Fear.
So they don't know anything any different.
Love.
People that cheat have a way about them that they know how to work their partner.
It's a self-esteem issue. Could be kids involved, financial.
Because maybe you have some insecurity.
I don't agree with that.
Neither do I. All right, so we've just heard from our street interviews the reasons why they think people who are cheated on stay in those relationships. The number one thing that stood out for me was insecurity, low self-esteem. I am one, you asked me a question before we went to the interviews why that wouldn't work for me. There's no relationship without trust.
So in other words, men, there are some women who have no tolerance for a first-time cheater.
At this stage in my life, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't think any woman or man who has been, lied to or in a situation where they've been cheated on should ever tolerate that kind of treatment.
I agree 100%.
Especially if you're not that type of person as well.
You and I are the same in that avenue, but there are an enormous amount of women who don't feel the same way, and that's who the players go after.
The rule doesn't apply to, all couples.
That's correct.
Well, I think that was very evident in the interviews. You did hear people say, especially within a marriage, when you have children, that might be something to consider. Financial. Well, let me ask you this. Why after the cheat, and I had this conversation before, why after the cheat are we now having this conversation about how the other person feels? That should happen before you make the decision to step out, no?
You have to, but let me tell you, even if you are going to divorce or break up, it is good to have a safe or healthy relationship with that person.
Absolutely not.
It's just,
no.
I'm not saying that you are going to be again with a person. Is you?
Why do you need to be friends now?
That comes with maturity.
I am not saying friends.
No. It does.
I am not saying
it
friends.
Comes with maturity.
Why do you have to be friends?
You don't necessarily have to be friends, but it does come with maturity.
I didn't say friends.
So if not a friendship, then what are you suggesting?
It's a healthy relationship, no hate. I leave you.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't think that has anything to do with your maturity level if you don't want to be friends with that person.
It is, because if you don't want to be friends with the person simply because it didn't work out in your relationship.
No, it wasn't because it didn't work out. You can both agree that this is not the right situation for you.
Right.
Great, we can be pals.
Right,
I'm talking about, what I'm talking about, what we're discussing here is cheating.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we're discussing. We're not talking about we just broke up. No, of course you can be friends, if it didn't work. I'm talking about you've been cheated on.
Right.
Why would that have anything to do with your maturity level?
Okay. I can understand that.
Okay.
I mean, if you're talking about the cheating level, I mean, I certainly understand
but it is...
Doctor, you speak to someone to help them healing. Someone who is going through this, I want them to see this and feel like, okay, maybe there's something else, another alternative to what I'm thinking out right at this moment. Speak to that, and then I want to go on to the next issue.
Okay, I will tell the person that you have to explore what happened. You have to see your part of the responsibility. Okay. What your input in that failure, whatever, what happened. You have a part on that. Okay. I'm not saying that the cheater or the unfaithful person is 100%. Well, maybe, but you have a part of that. So you have to recognize your part. Okay. You have to recognize what you did wrong or what you didn't at all. Okay. You have to find out, and you have to understand what happened with that person also.
Ladies, men, please pay attention to this. The signs or red flags that you are being cheated on. What is the #1 red flag or sign that you are being cheated on?
I don't know if there is a sign. People sneaky nowadays.
The texting and hiding their phone.
Staying out late, hanging out with the boys.
Constant lies.
How do you detect those lies?
When you change your behavior, your actions.
That phone.
Your cell phone is the truth.
Changing in clothing.
Person leaves the room when they're getting a call.
I mean, staying out all night.
Nearly something simple as communication, diminished communication.
The person's lack of interest in the other person.
Changing time, they come, leave.
Whenever you know, you just know.
If the phone's with them all the time,
yes,
you got a problem.
Changing attitude, everything changes.
You just automatically, completely change.
Your cell phone, if it's always turned off or on silent when you're around me.
Hiding, not answering the phone, hiding your phone.
When they try to put you on a set schedule.
It depends on the partner's sexual appetite. If sometimes they come and they're real high strung and they want to have sex all the time, and then they don't want to have sex, and oh no, they're too tired.
Whenever you notice that things are not the way that they used to be.
Reduction in calls or texts is probably, or picking up the phone really.
The lack of communication.
When you have those missed dates, those missed phone calls, and
working late hours.
He will not give you the passwords to his Facebook account, his Twitter account. He keeps his phone on silent all the time.
Whenever I ask you questions and you can't answer them.
Okay, we've just heard from the street interviews all the reasons, all the signs that you've been cheated on, at least for what they thought. What stood out for me was changing behavior, changing the way you dress, changing the time you come and go. Is that something that you agree is a telltale sign?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're all different reasons, especially if you're one way in the beginning and then all of a sudden you switch gears. Oh yeah, those are all signs.
Right.
But the most ones that are prevalent are definitely those phones and how you deal with folks' passwords and answering their phones and so forth.
Computers.
Oh yeah, trusting.
The internet.
Yeah, trusting mate should always be able to answer phones and look at Facebook accounts. Like I don't have a problem with anybody doing that with niggas.
Agreed. Neither do I.
Oh yeah, I don't have.
Nowadays, the internet is just opened the way to the new infidelity through the internet. It's easy, fast, whatever, whoever, any part of the world. You can be cheating on in your own home, in your own bed, next to the person. So it is the most controversial and new way to cheat.
I want to tell every
internet.
woman. I want to tell every woman this right here. Every single woman this. Any man that you call yourself being with, if he gives the excuse that he wants his privacy, that is 100% BS. There is no privacy when you're talking about together, because you are supposed to be as one.
Nice.
You understand what I'm saying?
All right, so the next topic. I went out in the street and I asked people if there was one opportunity to ask a question and get a definitive answer to better help you understand the opposite sex, what would that question be? Let's jump to those interviews, see what the people had to say, and then we'll come right back and talk about it.
Ollie on the beat, yo.
If you had one opportunity to get a definitive answer to a question that would help you better understand women, what would that question be?
Why? Why you do all that crazy stuff?
You like me?
Okay. Do you like me?
Is what you really want, you know.
Do I make you happy?
What's the number one thing you need from me?
What makes you happy?
Well, that is an awesome question.
I guess, what do you want?
Repeat that question.
If you had the opportunity to get a definitive answer to one question that would help you better understand men, what would that question be?
Why can't men just talk?
Why can men can't be honest when it comes to their relationship status?
Why they have to go in their cave sometimes?
Why won't you stop playing video game all the time?
It seems like the men and women, I think we probably at fault here for this because we scream communication, but if all the men are generally saying, what do you want? What do you need from me? Maybe we are not being as vocal as we need to be when it comes to what is going to make us happy in relationships. I would like to say to our viewers out there, it seems like communication is the key. As much as we say what we want to our friends, to our family, we're not saying it to the people that need to hear it. So for healthier relationships, communication is definitely key to success. I want to thank you guys for watching, and that was What's Love Got to Do With It on What Would She Do?
Ollie on the beat, yo.
Yeah.